Well, we'd have done the "We Will Rock You" thing, but I'm not sure if Florida hasn't banned all of Queen's discography.
Rock you.
Telling you, you get
All right.
canceled in
We
Florida.
have small.
Good
and large
evening. It is Tuesday, May 10th, 2022. Welcome back to Boomer Rex Tonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. I'm RisenLadyHeathen. Hey, asshole, what separates our show from other millennial news
You want
podcasts?
to interrupt our intro today, and that one's not going on my ledger.
Right.
How did I interrupt our...
That we know the proper time to microwave 7-Eleven burritos, so there isn't that chunk of ice in the middle that's all gross and gonna make your shit soggy later.
Oh, cool.
Is there a special magical time for that?
Yeah.
What's the magic time?
I'll tell you later. Or show up on our Patreon. And
Yeah. Oh, we'll do it on the Patreon
That's a good-
tomorrow. That's a good
Absolutely.
tomorrow Patreon thing.
Because I will know.
Oh, you know what? I'll even be nice. And tomorrow, when we announce this wonderful information, that'll be all of those who are giving us $1. So you don't have to wait till the end of the month to find out how long to microwave a 7-Eleven burrito for.
Yeah.
I love it.
This is totally not vamping, so we can go to tomorrow to buy a bunch of 7-Eleven burritos to check some shit out.
Right.
We
Instead
have...
of the airship.
Oh, fuck no, never instead of the airship.
Okay.
We
Plus,
have...
once we have an airship, we can get
Shut
many
up!
burritos. We'll just show up and be like, give them to us.
Trying to do our intro. We have a boomer, and not just any boomer. We have Mr. Boomer Rex himself.
Yeah, good evening.
You two eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and I'm learning. That's 3 unique perspectives we share along with the facts from our literal round
It's not
table.
really the eat, sleep, breathe politics. That's just being addicted to the news.
Yeah.
No, but I think both of us, the interest in politics is genuinely from a policy and enforcement perspective,
Yeah.
which restrains you to a rule set, right? The goal isn't trying to legislate morality for the Americans because they're filthy and sticky and pink and I'd love them for it.
Right. I'm not sure anybody could agree on a list of morality things either.
But that's
so.
the thing is no, but Risen and I have been talking and going over things like compelling state interest and some other stuff that
That's
really
right, Blaine.
does let you, is this an issue for the government? And some of these quite obviously the fuck not.
Oh,
Right.
yeah, that shut that one dude up.
Uh-huh. No, that's part of why I always keep that in my back pocket, because
'Cause
really
he-
quickly, if you don't have an answer on what you want the rules to be, it's like, look at the fucking rules for driving, or when you have to signal and all that.
Yeah.
Well, asshole wanted to phrase it in the form of a question. I said, no,
Yeah.
that leaves it open-ended. I
Yeah,
said, we
okay.
want to make it a statement.
Agreed?
We here at BoomerX Tonight do not believe there is a compelling state interest in either.
Nope.
Right.
My instinct is to let them aggress in, and then I'm going to break 3 things on the way to us.
No, because again, if he had come back and said anything, that immediately makes him look bad.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
and it
yeah, no,
worked. He
I-
shut up, and that was my plan.
I
So-
think you were. There's a reason why Risen drives the bus when it comes to social media engagement.
Yep.
'Cause my
Oh, that's
answers
right,
range
so-
from who fucking cares to oh fuck that human.
Whenever you get replies or comments from us, it is always me, and sometimes I'll double check with these two, but most
Yeah,
of
we
the
have
time,
input.
most of the time I just post whatever.
Sometimes late at night I go on and I'll respond to you. Then
You do not, you liar. You don't even have it logged in on your
prove me
computer.
wrong, internet. Show up.
Right. Lecturing.
All
Asshole
right.
needs a headspace and timing set.
Let's dig right into our headlines after that. That was
Yeah.
a while. Okay. New pro-Trump clerk accused of tampering with voting machines.
So on Tuesday, the Daily Beast reported that a second Colorado elections clerk accused of breaking into voting machines on behalf of the pro-Trump conspiracy theorists.
How come every time we stumble across one of these, it's always a Trump supporter and not a Democrat?
Because they're the ones who rig elections, the Trump targets.
No, I know, but they're
Okay.
the Republicans are the ones saying, "Oh, the Democrats, the libs, they're doing all the things," but not once have we found. I think we found one.
Republicans have
but,
always
like,
been really good at displacement. Asshole, you have a comment.
It was because of the jettisoning of the Dixiecrats. That and whatever broke off when we did the civil rights legislation is the motherfuckers in America who will rig a motherfucking election, and they all went to the other side of the table.
Yep.
Okay.
Because Democrats are horrified and haunted by the concept of governing. They don't like telling people what to do, right? Fucking Boomer Rex's experience with this would be the haircut length.
Yeah.
That feels weird, telling another grown-ass adult, go shave, motherfucker.
And the sign says,
No,
long-haired freaky people
okay.
need not apply.
So one of the classes officers get, right, is officers because they are officers,
Mm-hmm.
right, are allowed to do things that enlisted men cannot do. And so one of the classes, and it's the extreme example in the class, but the question is, when can you shoot a troop? Right? The short answer is, if a troop refuses to move forward in a situation where his refusal is likely to spread, kill him and drive on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? All right. So,
But that means you're not shooting fuck-ups who run. Right? You're shooting
if the rest of the
troops.
unit is doing their job, right, and he decides to run, fine, you can
No one's
court-martial
going to
him
follow
later
a fuck
and
up,
hang
and
him.
that guy's going to be wandering around in the rear unattached. Sooner or later, someone's going to go, "Who the fuck
What the
are
hell
you?"
are you doing? Yeah. So, but the interesting thing was that the man who taught that class, right, was a major. He had held every enlisted rank from E1 to E9
Brilliant.
prior to being commissioned to first lieutenant, and he had now made it to major. And he was the perfect person
Yeah.
to have
He's
that
been on both
class.
sides of the mop handle.
And he had an interesting comment, because you're talking about, among other things, status offenses, right? That things that are you can be punished for that you couldn't be punished for if you're a civilian.
Fuck no.
And one of those is like haircut and so forth. And he stood on a podium at Fort Benning and said, when you can tell a soldier from a college student by the length of his hair, the Army has the wrong fucking dress code.
True.
So anyway, I totally agreed with him. And again, it's like,
But is the high and tight meant so it fits under helmets better? That
there's
was
lots
always
of
my
stuff
assumption.
like that, and it's nothing I can't fix in 20 minutes with a goddamn razor
Yeah.
when the
If you need
time
to.
comes.
No one's
right?
going
If
to
it
like
becomes a
keep
problem.
The
Okay,
mask
right.
won't seal over
huh?
the beard. I can take the beard off. Yeah, you may bleed some, but I can get the beard off, and I'll tell you what, 95% of the troops who have a beard, right, when they go someplace where the gas mask needs to fit, they're going to be more than happy to shave themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Because what happens if your gas mask doesn't fit is way worse than having your beard cut.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, it was, we kind of treated it as a joke, right?
But it's the way you can fuck up. It's the way you can end up being chicken shit.
Yeah.
It's the biggest hole people fall into.
But
that
you don't-
leads to chicken shit. Them.
Right, so you don't do chicken shit, right?
But that's the difference between the governing philosophies of the modern Republican Party and the Democrats. Democrats are terrified to tell a motherfucker, "Go cut your hair.
Yeah.
You smell bad."
All right, we got a little off in the weeds.
Yes.
Let's get
Right.
back to this.
So anyway, following a court order, Dallas Schroeder, clerk of Elbert County, Colorado, returned 2 hard drives containing his county election machine data, which he stole.
Is this the
Whoa.
same crime as the other one, or is this a second goddamn crime?
This is a very similar crime,
But a second location.
a second
different
location in Colorado.
Yeah, this was not, because I thought more than one went in. Anyway, I just want to make sure that this was the
Right.
second.
So he
set
had
of
given
shit.
one copy of the data to his attorney, and he gave the other copy to an unnamed lawyer. The lawyer has been revealed to the judge in a private communication.
I
Fine.
hope that lawyer finds this inconvenient.
Again, guys, there are rules about what you can and can't do with voting machines, and when you violated that rule, you should first of all be tried, convicted, and jailed, and second, you should certainly
treason.
be.
Yeah.
Nah, treason requires a foreign army.
Yeah.
No.
And probably a declared state of
Well, but
war.
you're trying to fuck with the
Right, but it's a
election. That's some
violation
sort
of the
form
oath you
of
took
Oh yeah,
when-
no,
terrorism,
look,
right?
I come from the end of the Democratic pool where that's one of those things where I am really willing to talk about some death penalty shit,
Yeah.
or life in prison.
Yeah.
And when I say
I'm
death,
fine with life in prison.
I'm
100%.
talking weird death penalty. Like, this is some drawing and quartering shit. This affects the system so deeply. The only thing I find worse than fucking with voting is when cops fuck up.
That's true. No,
Right? Or
I
any
don't
part
disagree.
of the system that can use force, but that's usually cops or
Yep.
some law enforcement variant. There's not a lot, right? Code enforcement doesn't usually show up and break your
So-
shit.
So far, all of the criminal election stuff we've seen has been,
Republicans.
yeah.
That
tough
was
cards.
why we went far afield. You asked why this always seems to be Republicans, and one of
It
the
was rhetorical. I know why.
no, but I was giving you my genuinely held answer.
No, I agree.
It has to do, right. One of the things I think Democrats should do often and publicly is apologize to the Republican Party for the Dixiecrats they inhaled that made them like this.
No, and I certainly wasn't complaining about us getting off into the weeds. I just didn't want it to stay
leave
there
it
for
Right.
too long because we got a lot to get through. So do we have anything else we want to discuss on voting machines,
No.
or do we want to return to this at the end to talk
Sure.
about it more? Okay. Too crazy for Fox and Newsmax. What is going
That's
on?
got to be pretty crazy. So the thing is, the Trump tards keep doubling down
Right.
on their election conspiracy and so forth.
Well, online, there's no consequences for that kind of shit.
So anyway, Daily Beast reports that the far-right conspiracy theorist Dinesh D'Souza has attacked Fox News, Tucker Carlson, and Newsmax on Twitter for not promoting his latest garbage flick
Do it,
on
Mr.
the
D'Souza.
non-existent
Call him a cock.
election
It'll be
fraud.
funny. I'll die. Oh my god, that fucker's
So he took
crazy.
Twitter to gripe that sympathetic MAGA media was supposedly suppressing 2,000 Mules, his latest propaganda.
They're part of the deep
nonsense.
state.
I want to know
Yeah.
where he got that name from. 2,000 Mules. I'm curious. Tell me,
they were
man.
carrying
Did
the
you wake
ballots.
up and be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
2,000 mules," because that people have 2,000 mules in today's day and age.
No,
That's
it's
a
going to
thing.
be-
This is
an
Mule
American-
like drug runner. These were ballot runners.
That's
So anyway,
again, no fucking evidence. This didn't fucking happen.
Oh, Dinesh D'Souza was a fucking lunatic.
yeah,
fucking idiot.
no, this is
His
just
other videos are also chock full of the crazy.
I
yeah,
believe
no,
it.
this is just total nonsense. Anyway, so the crime that Tucker Carlson and Newsmax have committed is they told him he could not mention the movie during an interview.
Good job.
He actually had quite a terse exchange with Tucker Carlson, in which Tucker Carlson said, "You'll never be on my show again." So anyway,
So that's a big hit to the wingnut welfare.
You know what, Tucker Carlson? It's the one time I'm gonna say to you, "Good job, sir.
yep.
Good job." And it's the only time those words will ever come out of my mouth. So prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
And I have a suspicion there's a
Come
little
out
bit
for
of
abortion tomorrow,
Fox
and I will
News having
apologize.
told Tucker Carlson, if you get our asses sued again, you're gone, boy. So
Fair.
anyway,
Well, that's the problem for Tucker Carlson. Is he is right taking up Bill O'Reilly's mantle easily and
Yeah.
handily. But that's also made him so radioactive. There's nowhere else for him to go.
yeah.
Right, he could go to Newsmax, but that's it. He's got one hop
Well,
left.
no, I mean, he could go to the Home Shopping Network and sell his gonad roaster.
I have no doubt he makes millions of dollars a year on his radio show alone.
Yeah.
Is he
Right,
gonna
same
be the
reason why
next
Bill O'Reilly's losing.
Alex Jones? It's just
Oh, he's already wildly bigger than
suffering
Alex
and
Jones ever
slightly-
was.
Yeah.
Alex Jones
Alex Jones is too screeny for a lot of
appears to
people.
have come from a class of people, several of whom popped due to apparent Russian money. Well,
Yeah.
you think your brand is taking off, and then it goes to zero.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know about Alex Jones's thing and the bankruptcies and all the rest enough to speak to it, but
Fair.
I do know there are other people in that class of talk show hosts who, like a tick, just exploded.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. DeSantis signs bill mandating communism lessons in class. I have a side note to this. It's called fucking history class. Ugh! That's my comment.
No, not the way Florida wants it taught. Public school teachers in Florida will be required to dedicate at least 45 minutes of instruction on the Victims of Communism Day to teach students about communist leaders around the world and how people suffered under those regimes.
Does understand that nobody in this country is communist, right? He gets that.
Well, and of course, what he's
There are
ignoring
communists here.
are the times that the U.S. government sent the military against workers.
Yeah.
The times that
Look at the Marine Corps
major
in the
U.S.
early
companies,
1900s.
major U.S. companies hired gangs of thugs to send against their workers.
Wait, is he actually focusing on the stuff that should be focused on?
No,
I'm
this
a
No,
little
is-
he's focusing on the bad things that happened under communism.
Look at everyone we've ever
But
declared a
we've never been a
socialist.
communist country.
No,
No.
but other countries
Other countries
have tried it or annoyed corporations to the point where we declare them socialist or whatever and then fail them.
Yeah.
Right, remember, Argentina routinely gets the shit kicked out of it.
And
by
he wants them to
fucking hedge
talk about
funds.
poverty, starvation, migration, systemic lethal violence, and suppression of speech. all of which have happened in the United States, right, in the last 100 years, right? And they were done sometimes by the government, but more often by corporations.
Oh yeah, it's all about the
So,
corporations. Yeah.
anyway,
Well, the corporations have never hesitated to call on the government when it needed it.
right.
Look at how fast Monsanto got the FBI to roll on some dudes may have stolen some of our corn.
Yeah, I just.
Oh God.
Anyhow.
No, this is so stupid.
No, it's just nonsense. It's the standard propaganda that some jackass like DeSantis would think needed to be taught.
And it's incredibly popular in Florida due to the Cuban diaspora. That generation is dying off.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like all things, they're raging against the dying of the light. So,
Yeah.
good on them, I guess. But no,
No,
and
they
it's-
turned Cuba into a shithole country
God, well,
where there was a revolution.
yeah,
And
no, fine.
yeah, some stuff got better. Right? Go look at village doctors in Cuba. Go look
Yeah.
at what Cuba has sent to various troubled countries. They send doctors and teachers.
Yep.
And I'm not campaigning for Castro being a great guy, but some of what they did was the right thing to do.
Well, and, a
And
lot
the
of-
revolution was caused by the absolute shithole that Cuba was before the revolution.
Yep.
Right? It
Well,
was
and so
it
much
was
of-
the perfect kleptocracy.
so much, and that's what we liked about it.
Yeah, I know.
So
That's
much
why
of-
we all went on vacation there.
I have a question. When it comes to revolution and such, America being as large as it is, and being like a whole, like we don't have like little subsidies like little small countries all spread out throughout. We are all one big country.
No, we're 50 states, but yeah.
We are 50 states, but if the government, like the big government, if we want to revolt against that, that's a bit harder for us because we're fucking big. Is it easier for these smaller countries to like turn over
Logistically,
things,
but
or is it hard? Like, is
the
it?
boil you need going for an actual revolution, right? It's like water. It doesn't matter the size of your thing.
You fuck with and scare your middle class, you're going to have a revolution.
Yep, and you're gonna lose.
Well,
It's
and that's
that
where we're
simple,
headed,
and
yeah.
you're going to lose.
Well, we got rid of our middle class largely, but
Which is
the-
exactly the kind of pressure that starts revolutions. That's exactly what MAGA world is.
Right.
Is these are people who feel that they have been downtrodden for no good reason.
Yeah.
And at some point, they need to
just focus
figure
on
out
the
that
wrong
it was the
things.
Republicans who
Right.
trod them down
Yeah.
and the ultra rich who benefited. And the short form answer is tax the goddamn rich
Yeah.
and fix the fucking country.
Oh, the best part is we're going to be talking about that later.
that's
So,
why the rich always run religion
does
too.
anybody else have anything to talk about DeSantis being a dick?
We're talking about a group of people. I absolutely right. Again, these are the ones who were running around yelling about socialism last time when there was barely one socialist in the fucking running.
All right, so DeSantis, you can go fuck yourself, and we're gonna move on. Has Russia already lost in Ukraine?
I don't know where you went. Oh, no, I do too. Sorry, I changed pages.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Russia had expected a simple, straightforward, high-speed campaign, right, to take over
Iraq
Kiev
won.
and what?
Iraq won.
And Ukraine won.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm saying they were gonna copy Iraq won.
Yeah.
The problem was
Blitzkrieg.
Iraq, the number one.
that
not
everybody
the-
thought they had like the world's number 3 military. Well, it turns out what they have is the dregs, right?
Yep.
They do not have a military that's capable of Western operations, right? They don't have the NCOs who are the foundation of that.
It's what lets the jaggedy
They tried a
tail of
high-speed
Utah.
operation and discovered that they got their butts kicked because they're no fucking good at it.
Well, and
Their
not only that-
vehicles are unmaintained, their troops are untrained, their officers are ineffective, including their generals.
and the world has rallied behind Ukraine, or at least the part of the
Yep.
world that matters.
The people who can ship you
Yeah,
weapons.
that's what I mean. The
Yeah.
part that matters.
Oh,
the people with the bombs.
So they were trying to fight like a modern Western military. And what they had was the dregs of the Soviet military, which hasn't changed since the USSR, except that it's decayed. And so they were just destroyed
Yeah.
by years of graft and decay and belief in a method of warfare that does not fit the strengths of their army.
Yeah, the Russian people weren't uniformly united against the need to do something horrific to Ukraine.
They don't even know it's happening.
No, exactly. But I think you probably could have gotten it going if it was against, say, Germany, who Russia has a deep historical hatred for.
Yeah.
So good job, Ukraine. We love you.
Yeah.
And the Russian people who are against this, keep doing what you're doing. The hacking, the bombs. If you're involved in any of that, keep that up. Just keep pushing against Putin, and you got this. We believe in you. And we love you all. You have our support. We're sorry you have to go through this, but we believe you can come out on top. So just remember, Putin is the enemy, not us, and not Ukraine, and not Europe as a whole. So let's move on to Alex Jones explodes at caller. I've been waiting to talk about Alex Jones. I love talking about Alex Jones.
Oh, this one's really cute. I love it when they do their circular firing squads, right? So anyway, during his daily broadcast, he lost his temper with a caller who was behind QAnon. The horrible thing, I hate even talking about it. It was all a delusion so the Democrats could steal the election.
Wait, QAnon is Democrats.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Slap the false
Do
flag
you
on
understand we lost the country because of Q? And I have to put out, man, I'm not mad with you, but you hit a button, and the damn Q people are the ones that manipulated some people to go into the damn Capitol and work with the feds. And Q is the worst people on earth. Q's a new world order. Q's a psyop. And he tried to explain that Q was created by the Trump White House, but quickly taken over by the CIA.
Of course. He is no better than the QAnon people.
No,
He
he's
believes
crazy. He's batshit
He believes
crazy.
in spider people and like
What?
fucking lizard people. Like, this guy is messed up.
Anyway, he has noticed that QAnon is not a good thing for the Republican Party.
Oh God, yeah.
So
He's
anyway,
not dumb.
so
has
he
a
can
base
get all
animal
shouty
cunning.
and
Fair.
he loves to screech.
This is a lot of this seems new because it's the first time we've ever really put fucking microphones and cameras on these shitheads.
Yeah.
But this is the exact right church barker garbage all over the
Oh
South.
yeah, absolutely.
Right. The only thing Southern churches love more than telling you which kinds of Americans you should spit at is why the church down the road is the devil.
Yep.
And you're lucky you come here because they're all going to hell, the bad kind, where they do the butt stuff. And they probably
Right.
have a long diatribe about exactly what kind of shit that looks suspiciously, I'm guessing, like their Pornhub search history.
Yeah, I would guess.
But I'm not going to knock humans for that. That's just how humans roll. That's part of why you shouldn't yell about who you hate and what horrible things they do, because that tells me a lot about you.
Yeah. No, that aggressively. Yeah. All right. Boomer Rex is about damn time. Please tell me the good news.
So I love this. The Mississippi Department of Human Services has sued retired NFL quarterback Brett Favre and some former wrestlers and a bunch of other people, trying to recover literally $20 million in misspent welfare dollars.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? So anyway, says the defendants squandered more than $20 million in money from the Temporary Assistance to Needy Families anti-poverty program.
What a dick.
Yeah. So anyway,
I'm not saying all pro ball players are bad, but lots of them are the bad.
so anyway,
Well,
this is
we had the
Mississippi's.
Vic thing with his dogs, and now this, and that dude who beat his wife, and the other dude that beat his
No.
wife, and that other dude that broke his wife, and
all
wait,
of which
I
was the
can-
tip of an iceberg of an organization that
Yeah, no.
So some of the things they spent the money on was like drug rehabilitation in Malibu for a former pro wrestler and that kind of shit.
I mean,
that doesn't sound like.
that's
Wait,
garbage.
what was the thing for again? They were supposed to be giving it to needy families. I
Yeah.
don't feel like a pro
Yeah.
wrestler is a needy family.
No, kind of not. And then
Especially for him to go to Malibu for fucking.
there's that.
Come on.
yeah.
Come on.
See, man, you should have gotten straight in fucking St. Louis, because then I'd be like, hey,
So
nobody in
Brett-
St. Louis by choice.
Brett
Yeah.
Favre recommended they invest some of that money in a company. And he held a meeting where they had a sales pitch and so forth. And about $2 million of it
Went to the endeavor.
went to the company and its successor. And to the benefit of Favre and
Yeah.
several of the people in the company. So again, what the fuck is this? And I am so sick of people with names being criminals.
Yep.
right? And it's time to stop this. And the
One
way to
thing when
stop
America
it is
liked
to
indie
lock
heroes.
some of them up
Yeah.
for years.
I say lock all of them up forever. Just be done with it.
They never lock rich people up.
Drag this shit out till
They
it
give
costs
them
more than
6
they make.
months suspended sentence and 3
Yeah.
years on probation and that kind of shit.
Think of
No,
all
they
the-
get a fucking one of those fancy little ankle bracelets and they wander about and live their
and they
lives.
can afford them. We're rapidly going to a place where the inability to afford house arrest is why you don't get that option.
Yeah.
$150 a month, most of those little ankle monitors.
That's a lot cheaper than I thought. I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
okay. I'm just saying, like, I
Yeah.
was expecting it to be much higher than that.
Yeah, they get it. Oh, look.
Okay, so dumbass of the day.
And I couldn't pass it up. We got 2 of them
definitely not. He
today.
deserves it.
So one
Yeah,
of
they
the
both
things
do.
that's come out from Esper's book and been confirmed by other people is that Trump seriously believes that China has a hurricane gun, that they point at us and cause a hurricane. And he wanted to know if that was an attack and could we respond to them militarily. And I'm sorry, somebody characterized this as almost too stupid for words. No, this is too stupid for words, not
Does
almost.
he
This is the kind of
Does
dumb
he
that Trump
understand the
is.
difference between a hurricane and a typhoon, first of all?
There is no difference between a hurricane and a typhoon.
Oh, yeah, there is. One's in this ocean, the
Yeah,
other in the
yeah,
other
yeah,
ocean.
Cool.
So he's talking
no,
about
the-
an ocean that China has no access to. Okay, first
Well,
of all.
no, because they have a hurricane gun.
Right, but
$675
hurricanes are...
What?
$675 a month.
Okay, that's more along the lines of what I was
For an
thinking.
ankle
For an
bracelet?
ankle
Yep.
bracelet. Yeah, that
Between $5 and $40 a day fee. The $200 fee I was thinking of is the activation fee.
Oh my
Sorry.
God.
Oh,
So,
But he wanted to know if this would constitute an act of war and could the U.S. retaliate.
for the weather weapons?
yeah, for hurricane weapons.
For the hurricane gun.
Even though China only has access to the Pacific, which they're called typhoons.
The idea that Trump is stupid enough to entertain this idea is terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying than him drawing a boob on a fucking hurricane map and saying that's the path.
Alabama, he tried to kill you with voodoo. Think about
Yeah,
that.
he did.
I'm just saying.
And given what
nobody-
Alabama's done recently, all I
nobody's
can say
surprised
is
by
God have
this.
shame it didn't work. So, and I was born in Alabama.
I think in North Carolina.
So we have a second dumbass du jour.
I love it.
So a QAnon influencer who has declared herself Queen of Canada has advised her followers that paying for utilities is optional.
Yeah.
And with the obvious
is.
disastrous consequences.
How many died?
So they should stop paying for water, gas,
I think you
property
should,
tax, credit card bills, and pressuring other followers
Yep.
to do the same. And it turns out, right, and she told her followers electricity was free. And every day there are a few more that are, sort of dialing into her Twitter accounts and going, well, why did they cut off my service? And it would be amusing if we weren't talking about incredibly poor people who have no money. But getting reconnected is expensive,
Mm-hmm.
right? Plus
Yeah, you
late
have to pay
fees
what
and
you
all the
owe,
rest
plus
of
you
that.
have to
Plus
pay
the
a
late
fee,
fee,
plus
plus
the
the
late
reconnection
fees.
fee.
And
Yeah.
probably a deposit.
So, and
Oh, and then you'll have to pay ahead of time too. Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
messed up. Good job.
Again, all
Romana,
that's
is that her name?
changed is the internet gives us the ability to walk the cat back on cults.
yeah.
Right,
We're
we just-
seeing
it
it.
auto archives. Yeah, because these used to happen in wherever cults did their recruiting.
Wow, that's a fast little spider.
Georgia deputies search black lacrosse team's luggage during a quote-unquote routine traffic stop. What the fuck is going
Right.
on?
Tell me you're not concerned. It's routine.
Yeah. So, part of the reason I have this here is there are photographs of these two deputies.
I saw that.
Okay. So these two deputies, first of all, they have their idiot beard.
Oh, God.
And second, they have highly reflective sunglasses, both of
I
them.
hate that take them off when you're talking to somebody.
In most state highway patrols, you will be fired for approaching a civilian wearing those.
I have never had an officer not take his sunglasses off unless the sun was like directly in his face and it was
And
understandable.
even then, you should be wearing reasonable sunglasses. Not
well, and
the
he would
ones
always
where you
pick them
can't
up
see your
and
eyes.
talk to me and then
Yes.
put him down when he walked away.
Yeah.
So it was never whatever, but
Right.
this is ridiculous.
So anyway, and those idiot beards. If state highway patrol folks are letting people wear idiot beards, I'm sorry, you have just lost it.
So anyway, what did they? So they originally said they had pulled them over for.
They pulled them over for, I think, an improper lane for a lane violation.
Yeah, that's some bullshit lane
then
violation.
started-
You know what I've never been pulled over for? A lane violation.
That's what I always get pulled over for.
I get pulled over for not using a blinker, for speeding,
It's
for
the easiest one to make up.
So
my lights out.
anyway, so these police officers, in quotes, said that stretch of highway, there's a lot of buses that are smuggling people and narcotics, and they have to be diligent. No, they stopped a bus full of black players.
And then harass them,
Oh,
saying,
then
"Who
harass
of you
them.
has weed?"
Yeah.
Right?
Which direction were they traveling?
These were two maggots, right?
Which direction were they traveling?
I
Back
believe they were
to-
traveling to.
They were heading
Again,
home
this is
from a
Georgia.
game.
They're heading home. Okay.
East or west?
North. They're from Delaware. Yeah.
At best, those cops were going to seize drugs because drugs move north and east, and money moves.
Oh yeah,
south
no, and
west.
they clearly realized they had probably fucked up and saying, well, you know what, I'm not looking for a little bit of marijuana, but I'm pretty sure you guys, chaperones, are probably going to be disappointed if you find any. And so if there's something here that's questionable, you know, please let me know, because if we find it,
Right.
it's the standard.
If we find it, we
It's-
can't help you.
again,
Don't
this
talk
was-
to cops.
This was two maggots.
It's what they can get them into how to talk people into confessing to shit. But no, all around dumb.
Yeah. Again,
And no, I don't believe that.
two maggots with their idiot
I
beards
don't
and
believe
their
there's
funny-
any plurality of states that have a policy about state troopers having to take their sunglasses off that's in any way enforced. I think that standard has gone long by the wayside.
Okay, and again, my familiarity with that is probably 20 years
Yes,
old.
no,
and it was
the
'cause I
regulation may
asked-
well exist, but
No, and I asked, and they said, "Are you kidding?" And they said, "If I walk up to a car in those reflective sunglasses, and they
Cool.
find out, they will fire me."
America sounds like it used to be a really nice thing.
Yeah,
I wonder what happened.
yeah. Two maggots walked up to a bus.
Okay, Texas Representative Henry Cuellar? Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, I assume.
An anti-abortion Democrat in hot water for firing staffer who asked for maternity leave.
Yeah, and this is a Democrat. Well, in quotes, a Democrat. He's fucking pro-life.
The bitch who yes, that should absolutely be part
I'm
of our
sorry,
litmus test.
anti-abortion.
Anti-abortion.
It absolutely should be. Anti-choice.
Anti-choice, anti-abortion.
Yeah.
Fucking same.
No, anti-choice.
Yeah. Rhetorically, the choice is better, unless you can figure out a way to make them anti-freedom.
Ooh, I like that. Anti-freedom.
Anyway, after the fact, to justify it, he allegedly attempted to coerce his staffers into fabricating poor job performance reviews and so forth. They were collected months after the dismissal.
Tell me that
So-
not like automatic win on hostile work environment.
Why
yeah,
did
lots
she
of
want the
stuff.
maternity leave?
I'm assuming.
She was pregnant. So anyway, he also said, there's a 90-day probationary period for all new hires, not in her contract. So again, if you want to have one, you got to put it in the contract.
Didn't she have a miscarriage?
Her child was stillborn.
Yeah, no, that
Way to make
takes-
her life harder, shithead Von Hoositz.
Yeah, that takes. I
So-
think that maternity leave is proper to give her time to grieve and yada yada yada.
If not, certainly fucking bereavement leave, but
Something like he could have said like, You know,
So-
full maternity leave might be much. How about a couple weeks? We'll see how you're feeling. If you're ready
Yeah,
to
there's a
come
lot
back.
of ways they could have avoided it
Yeah,
getting shitty all the
there's
time.
Yeah.
several ways to handle this.
But
and
remember, we're the party that had
fuck
the
this
fucking
guy.
dumb bitch in Kentucky refusing to sign marriage certificates after it was the law of the
Yeah,
land.
it's ridiculous.
Henry Kuehler, you are on the list.
Well, she sued his
Not
office.
sure what this list is yet, but when I
She
figure it out,
sued his
I'll let you know.
office in May 2019, alleging both sex and pregnancy discrimination under federal law. Hey, Democrats, just punish the living snot out of this clown.
Yep.
Yeah,
Put him on the sewage committee.
I don't understand how somebody who is anti-freedom, anti-choice can somehow claim they are a Democrat. Like, no, that is aggressively against every Democratic
Because we have a
belief
bunch of
that we
push
hold.
to fight every election. And in some of the states, we have convinced ourselves the only way you can win is by doing Republican light, which tends to
Yeah.
then reinfect the national level Democratic Party into neoliberal garbage and austerity, which then causes the problems that make more angry people who say, fuck it, we have to burn it down to make a better country again.
You got
Not
it.
knowing enough about history that once you start that fire, one, it
You
never
can't-
stops burning,
You can't put it out.
and you will never grow anything again.
Yep.
That it would North Korea can push enough AK-47s into the United States
Oh, yeah.
that you never get a weapon again.
Never get electricity, never get
Yeah.
clean water. Yep.
No, but individual individual military systems would
Yeah.
keep you from building out of warlords a
Yeah.
real government.
All right, updates with BoomerX. What's going on?
So nothing new on health, but we have a Skywatch,
Ooh, I like sky watches.
right? So this shouldn't say May 15th to 16th.
That's
It
what
should
it
say.
is.
It's not.
That's what I read in the
I
article.
know, and it's not.
I wouldn't argue against this guy. This one.
Yeah.
knows something.
I believe it's the morning of the. Fuck.
Cool.
I've even got it in my calendar.
What are we looking for?
Lunar eclipse
Total
2022.
lunar eclipse. So while they're looking that up, we'll go down to climate weirding.
I'm getting May 15th, Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, May 16th through the, or it should be 15th through the 16th, but
It's the 15th.
Late on the 15th, I'm gathering.
the night of the 15th into the morning of the 16th.
They don't last that long.
I
I don't know, I was just looking at the thing.
When is totality? And see if you can find it in Zulu.
Space.com, is that acceptable? That's where I got those numbers from.
Yeah, but that doesn't help people find it. When is totality?
I'm looking.
I think it's like 0400 Zulu.
No, I don't know. This isn't my story. I wish you guys had done more with it.
Well, I put it in our calendar so we would remember it.
Location number 19.
A small scallop of darkness will start to appear on the moon's lower edge at 10:28 on May 15th. It's expected to take 3 hours and 27 minutes.
Okay. So for the United States, 10:28 Eastern time, I believe.
EDT.
EDT, Eastern Daylight. So you can work it out from there. And totality is, I believe, about an hour later. Totality here is 9-something p.m.
So the 15th.
Here
you
being
said.
Arizona.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so, internet, just know we'll all be looking up at the same sky.
Which is currently on California time.
And that way you can all feel connected.
The totality of the eclipse will begin around 11:28 p.m. on May 15th. So, yes, it finishes on the 16th. So, it's the 15th through the 16th.
Right. But for most of the U.S., it will be the night of the 15th.
Yeah.
And we subtract
Anyway,
3 hours.
Depends on the part, but anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So California energy officials have issued a sober forecast for the electrical grid, saying it lacks sufficient capacity to keep the lights on given the heat waves, the wildfires, and other extreme events.
So we're looking at brownouts
I think
and
we need a new
blackouts.
kind of extreme event, like throwing some of these motherfuckers off a roof.
Right.
And I bet then they can find some answers. Well, I bet the ones who are still on the roof can.
Well, the wildfires have burnt
Don't
down
throw
some
each other off
transmission lines. Extreme heat and drought have hampered hydropower supply. And of course, the extreme heat pushes up the...
Yeah, and the not cutting back brush and the starting fires is problematic.
Yeah. So, anyway, climate weirding.
Yeah, well, and corporate fucking malfeasance. Hey,
No, I would guess that for a
Profit at any
standard, I
price.
would guess that for a standard California year, without having lost the transmission lines and without having the heat waves, that California had plenty.
I don't know. I know that from everything I hear, this seems to be a company that avoids doing the basic shit every other power company does to avoid starting fires. Or then fights about the liability on the fires.
Agreed, but the fire potential is wildly enhanced
Uh-huh.
by the
The most
drought.
predictable thing that we've been talking about since 87 at least. Yeah.
So, anyway.
No, this
But
is
again,
the
these are the effects of climate weirding. Is
wages
that
of
your
profit at any
climatology,
price.
your climatology doesn't give you
Yep.
a good, reliable indicator of what you're going to need.
And they found a way
So-
to save 6 cents per unit.
So, anyhow,
No, this is unrestrained capitalism at the end.
Yeah, this is
that
what
certainly
happens when you
doesn't
take out
help.
regulations.
that you have people trying to do the minimal, et cetera, et cetera. So,
All right. So speaking of the minimal, let's discuss the infant formula shortage. What gives Republicans? I thought you loved babies. You should be
up
You
in
know,
arms.
You should be something you're all over to fix, right? This should be something you should
Yeah.
be on top of. Why aren't you? No? Huh. That's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. You know,
Pretty
you
standard
baby
Republican.
lovers. not
Again,
give a
we've
fuck.
said
Okay.
over and over and over again
So
right.
anyway,
that being anti-choice has absolutely nothing to do with babies. It's about punishing young women.
again, 40% of all baby formula products nationwide are out of stock.
Do we
says
know why?
CNN.
We
Get
injected
there.
ourselves full of
On
an economic weapon called suppressed in time.
February 17th, a major recall of popular powder formulas, Similac, Alimentum, and Elecare, linked to a Michigan manufacturing plant run by Abbott Nutrition, occurred after 2 infants died and several reported illnesses. This facility had a whistleblower report put out to the FDA in October of 2021. Representative Rosa De La Rue, Democrat for Connecticut, blamed the FDA last month for being slow to respond and not inspecting the plant until January of 2022. Thanks to Republicans' insistence on trickle-down theory, parents are already struggling with the false inflation put on us by companies making billions hand over fist at our expense. Meanwhile, Republicans have plans to get the bottom 50% of Americans to pay taxes, while continuing to let corporations and billionaires make their own tax laws to ignore.
Absolutely.
Good on you,
They
Republicans.
pay the
You
Republican Party.
are rocking it.
Yep.
Fucking love it. God
Look where the
damn.
money goes.
No, they're talking about taxing
Yes.
everybody who makes under $100,000.
Yes.
So this includes poor families.
Yes.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and
What they're
that's
saying
fine.
is everybody should have skin in the game.
That's
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
another place to
Or-
go to look for some money to give to their rich owners.
To
Everybody should have skin in the game except for billionaires and companies.
Right,
End
absolutely.
of
socialism
discussion.
for the rich.
Yeah,
No, they bitch about socialism all the time, and that's
And then
exactly
use it
what
to
they're doing.
legislate for themselves.
right.
Yes.
Yes.
No, and they're
No, it's not.
hiding it
Yes.
under this guise
It-
of
it's
we should all be paying something.
Welcome to
it's
politics.
comfy socialism for the rich and rugged individualism for the working class.
Never been harder to get into the 1%. Never been harder to fall out of it.
Yep.
No, this is
66% of 1%ers are born as 1%ers.
Others. Yep.
No, this is
Best predictor of your
Yep.
future income is what your father's income is.
Agree.
Or mom
So-
hit 90s with economy.
No,
your
this
family's
is
income.
ridiculous.
I
So,
usually say what's on your parents' W-2s, which isn't actually accurate, but I like
Yeah.
how it sounds.
all right, so this is a fun one that this discussion we just had will lead into. So what we're gonna do is I have a short article I want to read. Okay.
Okay.
And
You
then
want us to be quiet while you do
we're
that?
yeah,
we'll
just
go with
while
that.
I'm reading, while I'm reading it, and then we're going to have an open discussion, open forum.
Excellent.
So be prepared.
Semper Paratus. That's us.
So the article is called "Goldman Sachs Backed Firm Buys Entire Florida Community for $45 million." It was written by, so this is on News Channel 8 on your side. It's by NBC News, and it was written by Athena Morris, if I'm reading this correctly. So do you guys have any initial comments of what this...
How many people are in the community?
No, I want to hear the rest of it.
Okay. Wall Street investors are capitalizing on the current housing crisis by investing in rental properties in Florida.
It's capitalism.
WESH reports, WESH reports, I should say. One of the latest deals involves Cypress Bay, a community of 87 single-family homes at the very southern edge of Brevard County in Palm Bay, Florida.
A little over $500,000 each.
Two investment funds have purchased the community of homes for $45 million. The funds are Growth EREITVII Fund and the Fundrise Interval Fund. Wow, they are just wildly bad at this.
No, what I find really interesting is that they're using the same trick that people who cheat on video games use of having weird names that are hard to report.
Hold.
Well, REIT is
Hold.
Real Estate Investment Trust.
Thank you. Which were financially backed by New York-based investment Goldman Sachs Group, Inc.
Yep.
Investors come in and, of course, invest. Property just goes off the roof, which marginalizes a whole lot of people who just can't afford it, especially those in Brevard County who make less than $46,000 a year.
That's under the median.
Bishop Merton L. Clark of The Truth revealed, internal ministries told WESH. Dr. Lawrence Yoon and chief economist of the National Associate of Realtors says the move is relatively new for Wall Street. The degree of large Wall Street money coming in fairly new. I think this is due to the unique circumstances of housing shortage, Yoon said. Wall Street is able to generate money, private equity, hedge funds, and others to say, let's go chase the rising rents and putting money into rental property development.
Okay.
So they are
So this
buying
was these
houses.
were rental properties. that
No, these are houses that they will be renting.
well, but not all the houses were for sale. How the hell they buy the town?
Because, okay, so I've been talking about how my family has bought in a neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
So this is a neighborhood that was being built, and they bought the entire
Everything.
neighborhood.
Okay.
That's my impression. I'm not confirmed, but that is my impression. The possibility is that some people had pre-purchased homes in this neighborhood, and the company bought them out. Here's an example. My parents are building half of a home, so there's two people living in one home, but they bought half of it. If they sold now, they would make money on selling it right now, because the prices have gone up in that neighborhood since they purchased.
Yep.
Same thing happened with my brother. He bought a home and is now going to sell for retarded amounts of money.
Yep.
But the point is that this company came in and bought all these houses, not rental properties, houses, and are turning them into rental properties to make a profit off of people not being able to afford.
Rental properties
mortgages.
are licensed to deal drugs and print money.
Yep.
Don't. do either.
So yeah, there's a lot of this going on. The good
Yeah,
news
this is
is at some point this will crash.
Yeah.
So.
But
yeah.
no, 60% of what should be classified as first-time homes are being purchased by investors.
Right.
To turn into rental properties.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's boomers trying to make some money
Fix and
right
flip
at the end.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's not going to work, but sure, go for it.
No, now is not the time to.
And it will
buy-
occasionally, but this, like, the fact that these stories are getting made means we're probably past the peak on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because any reporter who was told about this before would have gotten in on it.
Yeah.
So,
But no, it just this the reason why this article was something I wanted to discuss is because this aggressively encapsulates all the problems we are
Yeah.
having with major corporations stepping outside of their normal
it's what board
boundaries.
money do. They
Yeah.
find
And-
new places to businessize.
Right.
No, they have excess cash that they can just throw away on this.
Yep.
Maybe we could make some money.
Well, especially now when they can point to rising inflation and say, we're not gouging you on price, it's inflation.
No, turns out having 6 media companies in the United States is probably a fucking problem.
Yeah.
No, again, people keep trying to throw this inflation at the feet of Biden, and they need to throw it where it belongs, at the feet of the Republicans.
Well,
That's who
and,
earned
There
this.
isn't
and their corporations who are gouging us.
It's not inflation, it's
Exactly.
price gouging. We've
Yes.
discussed this.
hit the corporations that own the Republicans.
Yeah.
Follow the money.
Yep.
Yeah, I can shout and do a whole long thing
Tax
about
the
how
rich and their companies.
too many millionaires are elected representatives because that's all they can afford to run. But that's right. Politician rich is fucking baby corporation rich.
Yeah.
That's why I measure fucking rich kids in Mitt Romney's.
Yeah.
That's fair. So, no, it's just important. People need to watch out for these types of practices, which are predatory, and they're not trying to help you by renting to you at higher than it's worth.
No.
Don't rent a fucking house. Do not rent a house. Renting houses is
Well-
not fucking worth it.
For 60% of America, that is the only option.
No,
They
I
cannot buy a
Democrats.
house.
I lived in an apartment because I couldn't afford. Here's the thing. I could afford a mortgage on a house, but you know what? They wouldn't give me one because it would have been cheaper for me to buy a house than it was for what I was paying
If
for
they're
rent.
letting the subprime mortgage pump and dump cool off some more before we start running it again. Remember, the
Yeah.
stuff that killed the economy last time has only gotten bigger.
Yep.
But even with all of the repairs and stuff that I would have had to done as a homeowner, it would have been significantly cheaper for me to own a home than to rent.
Yeah.
But the bank would have never given me a home loan,
Yep.
which is insane.
And therefore, renting a home is probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because a rental, like where there's more than one unit, they're gonna care when your bathtub's overflowing. I've seen what they do when it's houses. They don't care.
Yeah.
And again, when you're renting a home, you're most of the time you're responsible for those.
So I've seen that
part of
work
the
out worse in
contract.
almost every incidence of renting an apartment.
Yep.
Yeah, be wary of these companies. They are not your friends. Okay.
Right.
Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, heart, follow, review. Go to BoomerRexTonight, no spaces, on Facebook for fun memes and a link to our Patreon. Give us $1. You can find us on YouTube as BoomerRex, or check your favorite podcasting service for BoomerRex Tonight. We can be found on over a dozen different platforms, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. And hit us up on Twitter at BRexTonight.
All
See you
right.
back here tomorrow night on BoomerRex Tonight. Love y'all.
Good night.
Most of the things that went wrong with Cuba were more about us not being able to admit when we had fucked up and missed an opportunity.